tempo lì, ti знать, что la pronuncia è perfetta già, perciò puoi stare tranquillo.
Grazie.
Bocca al lupo.
Crepi.
I have a lyric tenor voice. It's a gentle voice, the voice of hero lovers. These are characters such as Lenski, Alfredo, the Rigoletto Opera Duke. Lyric tenors are the voices of Alibek Nishev and Sergei Lemeshev. I was born and raised in a townlet of Shakhan, the Karaganda region. My father is a mining engineer. My mother is a pediatrician. I have a memory when I was 4 years old. Remember those street stages with metal domes and benches for spectators? I vividly remember when I once ran onto the stage and announced an artist's exit. Hooray, hooray, I shouted. And my first fee for the first performance at the age of 4, as I vividly remember, was a small white plastic toy tank. That was my first appearance on stage at 4. Still before my eyes.
Perdonate la sorpresa.
Perdonate la sorpresa. Io prendo moglie. Oh, questa è grossa. Vuoi prender moglie? L'ho detto e lo ripeto.
The most delicate and subtle instrument is the human voice. It should be compared to a violin. The violin is also a very soulful instrument. Why is the violin deck put to the head? You see, this is how the connection with some subtle matter is made. And the human voice is a very subtle instrument given by God. This instrument is inside, you see? If we have a violin, we can wipe it, change the strings, take care of it. It is here in your hands. But the voice is inside. And when we talk, it even weakens us. Some singers simply keep silent before performing. There was a singer who wrote notes to his wife, did not even talk to her for a week or two before the performance. There are concepts of voice routine and voice hygiene. This is also important. Naturally, the voice should be cherished so that it won't let you drown in some high note. They used to say that eggs are good for the voice. Sunflower seeds are bad. Everything is allowed in small portions. In this old Soviet black and white film of the 30s, the heroine rehearsed and drank eggs one by one to improve her voice. In fact, the use of eggs for the voice is a myth, more like a joke. Our voice is an integral part of the body, and its condition reflects the condition of our body. Therefore, I always say vocalists should be like athletes. Try to stay in good, sporty shape. It's very difficult to endure performances lasting for 3 or 4 hours.
Ardire, ardire,
Попроще, да? Ardire.
Ardire, a forse il cielo mandato.
Stonato.
Ardire, a forse il cielo mandato espressamente per mio bene. Quest'uomo miracoloso nel villaggio
The peculiarity of our profession is that once you started studying, you continue it all your life. And then you pass on your experience to others, but you still learn from everyone. Little by little, you gain something. As long as we are in shape, while we sing, while in our career, we continue to constantly study, refine ourselves, and improve our mastery. To stop means to die professionally. "90% of my musical skills came to me from my father. In our house, do you remember those Soviet time wall carpets? I had a guitar hanging on the carpet at home. This guitar with a red deck, with a black nag. There was also a dombra and a mandolin. And my father could play all these instruments. My father has very strict rules, and he brought me up very strictly. He didn't support my idea of becoming a professional musician. I was neither sent to a music school nor to the Karaganda boarding school. They didn't consider it a serious vocation, and at the age of 16, I had to study musical literacy as an external student. And 6 months later, at the entrance exams, the admissions committee were amazed that I could already accompany myself. I was such a fan of music. I've made myself, indeed. I was a versatile singer. I sang both jazz and pop. In the 90s, I took part in the Jazz Qanat contest and participated in Asia Dawsa. Not as a soloist in Asia Dawsa, but as an ensemble member. I wanted to try myself on a new path, in a new role. I joined the Abai Theater in 2003, and in December 2003, an order was issued appointing me as the main soloist of the State Academic Opera and Ballet Theater named after Abai. The walls of the theater themselves, there is a special aura, special energy, a real thrill. And in a good mood, with good thoughts and expectations, I entered that theater.
Помыслами, с хорошими ожиданиями вошел в этот театр.
Безумно сложный организм.
An opera house is an insanely complex organism. Besides the fact that it is a theater, i.e. singers must be actors, it is also a great musical stratum.
Большой музыкальный пласт.
Our profession is complicated by the fact that everything has to be integrated here. A singer must have a good voice, acting skills, and proper appearance, height, and forms. Singing alone is not enough here. It takes a good acting game, good transformation into the image, ability to convey it to the audience. And if you hear an ovation in a hall, then you realize that the performance went well. Let's put on the straps for now. Every costume reflects a certain era. You probably noticed, if you put on shorts, it is one thing. If you put on a suit, it improves your posture. You straighten up. The same here.
Вот костюмчик одел, все уже как-то обязывает. Уже и походка даже меняется.
You put on a suit and it obliges you. Even your gait changes. In a tuxedo, you won't walk swaying side to side.
Вот у меня такие профессиональные девчонки.
Right, Zabira?
Терпят наши все капризы.
We have very professional girls working here. They tolerate all our whims. We get very busy and often hurry, and the dressers endure everything.
Девчонки все терпят наши.
Opera is a synthetic art. It includes not only music, singing, playing of the orchestra members, the choir singing, but also the ability to work with props and to wear costumes and wigs. It often happens that a makeup distracts, and even false eyelashes can distract you from the task. Therefore, it takes a lot of time and effort to get used to it all.
Втоптать в ноги, понимаете?
E dal mio non più ricordo fa felice un senator.
Each scenery that we portray on stage is interesting in its own way. Each century has particular manners, and the speech is completely different. Of course, you have to reincarnate in the image of a hero. And for this, you need to know how people behaved in that era, how they talked, what was the tact between people. All this is very interesting, and our current age gets too simple and even dull sometimes. The epochs, clothes, house trappings, and decorations are different, but people's feelings are the same as they were 200, 500, and even 1,000 years ago. The same love, same betrayal, deceit, mutual assistance, mercy. Probably human values never change. Opera is a drama after all. My mother says to me, "How many more times do you have to die? As long as I watch, all your heroines die on stage. When will this dying stop?"
Смотрю твоих героинь, они все умирают, говорит. Сколько можно уже, говорит, умирать?
Opera is hard work, a tremendous psychophysical load. It's not just going out and singing, it's a responsibility. Different for everyone, but for me it is a responsibility. And when I prepare a new party and internalize the hero's emotions, I come home completely exhausted. We experience someone else's lives, someone else's tragedies. For example, my hero Aydar in the Abay opera by Ahmed Zhubanov, my hero gets killed. Just imagine how to internalize the image of a murdered hero. Or Lensky is shot by Onegin in Tchaikovsky's Eugene Onegin opera. When I sing, I empathize. This is also a big load. Even now, describing it all, I'm having this goosebumps. We do experience all these emotions. This isn't an easy psychophysical effort.
Нет, не хочу. Вот это тебе, Мутин, не хочу сразу. Хотя он помедленнее вчера же брал, ты заметила, да? Скорее всего, мне лучше дать темп, да? Давай, наверное, я дам. Давай я сейчас попробую дать. Я лег.
Секунду наверх глазки. Чуть-чуть совсем. Да.
You can paint me as a village boy, I play him. Do you want to make your face red after the entr'acte? Yes. My formation, my new operatic art phase began in 2006, when our first president, Nursultan Nazarbayev, announced at a press conference that the state would give young, talented singers an opportunity to advance culture in Astana. And I, at the invitation of our first president, our Елбасы, came to Astana.
Я очутился в городе Астана.
A new theater named after Kuляш Байситова was opened in the Railway Workers' House of Culture, and I sang for 8 seasons there. Around 2010, we heard that our respected Елбасы had a grand idea to build a new opera and ballet theater for the new capital. We also got inspired with this idea and had very good expectations. Even many European theaters can be passed unnoticed. Just ordinary buildings. One day I came to work to Antwerp in Belgium and asked, "Where is the theater?" I was told, "Walk a few blocks and you'll see it." I walk and can't understand. Where is the theater? And they say to me, "You've just passed it." No one will ever miss the Astana Opera Theater. This is such a huge, monumental, beautiful theater. We are happy to have such a theater in Kazakhstan. Once we dreamed of visiting such theaters, but now we are happy to be part of this theater and stage performances for our audience. Our theater is very modern and technically very well equipped, which gives ample opportunities for directors and pleases the audience. Our theater is very young, and we started to collect the repertoire from scratch. In an opera, there is such a thing as a must-have, the list of productions that must be part of its repertoire. These are a set of operas by Verdi, Puccini, samples of national opera and ballet, and so on. I'm glad that our theater performances are very colorful, made with quality. Beautiful, just very beautiful.
Красивые, вот просто красивые.
Убедительная просьба не осуществлять фото и видеосъемку, а также отключить средства мобильной связи. Спасибо.
А зато это реально.
Это
реал. Ты видела, да, как она делает?
Все она делает.
There were several stages in the opera development. First, there were voices and singers. Composers wrote music for the voices. Then came the era of conductors, great maestros who began to make their own genre out of all this. At the moment, the time has come for directors who try to make exciting visualizations. Sometimes they want to make a show out of an opera. It seems to me there should be some limits. Opera must be opera. Directors very often dictate how you should behave on stage and what you should do, and they're not interested in how you will do it. Of course, we tell the director when we are uncomfortable doing something. It is obvious that doing somersaults while singing some crazy cadence in a third octave is close to impossible. Our theater's recent production is the Elixir of Love opera. In it, the director wanted a lot of movement on stage. When you look at it, the performance is very bright, you can't argue. Everything moves all the time. But this creates difficulties for the artists. The chorus moves on stage all the time, it never stands. Ideally, an artist should sing towards the audience. see the conductor's hand, but instead he has to constantly turn away. At some points, the sound can go away, making it more difficult for the whole group. Don't sound on such a high note, but as if you were on a low note. Very nice. Now it is much easier to sing. The higher notes did not work out before. Maestro, can I show you a romance? Our Jean is unique, and I think there will never be another Jean Tapin. An extraordinary singer. He's in great physical shape all the time. He's a very good musician. He always intones well in the ensemble. And besides, he's a wonderful actor. It is a pleasure to work with him. His mastery is so finely owned. When a singer goes on stage, you can clearly see how much he had practiced and how he practiced and what he can do. Jean's voice is a tenor. It is a rare gift. And even we, the baritones, the basses, sometimes sit and dream, why are we not gifted with tenors? I'd also sing something so beautiful now. In any case, tenors are loved most of all by the audience. I don't know why, but they're just loved more. I'm very glad that Jean is developing and constantly expanding his repertoire. We go on stage for the sake of the audience, not for the sake of satisfying some of our personal ambitions or showing our inner creative selves. Not at all. We live for the audience. We are singers, we belong to the audience. We really miss the full auditorium, the applause. They bring completely different sensations. For more than a year now, we've been performing for a partially filled auditorium. We miss the full house, we really do. Because when you perform in front of a full auditorium, it is a completely different energy, and you begin devoting yourself by 200%. When will this pandemic end? This is our heartfelt cry. Come to the theater more often and support us. Not necessarily by flowers, just by your warm applause. Because when I sing, or when I and my colleagues sing together, we look into the whole. If people applaud, it means they respond and they like it. I am grateful to my destiny, to Cosmos, the Almighty, that one day I had listened to my intuition, my inner voice, which told me that I could achieve anything.